It's real talk with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this Monday evening, the 13th day of January 2025, 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time, ladies and gentlemen, once again for Real Talk Memphis. Welcome. I am your humble host. My name is Chip Washington. Glad to have you with us along for the ride for the next hour. We're going to have a really good show for you. We hope you stick around for its entirety because I think you might learn something before it's all said and done. Glad to have everybody back in the fold. We had some snow late Friday into Saturday, and I'm sure many of you enjoyed that. Of course, schools were out on Friday. A lot of businesses were shut down as well. I didn't go to work on Friday because I don't like driving around in 6 inches, 7 inches of snow. But everything is slowly melting off. Although coming in here tonight, it's cold outside. It's still wintertime and it's still cold. But glad to be here in one piece. Very pleased to be here with you. Now, if you are trying to find this fine piece of radio broadcasting, let me help you out. There are several ways to do it. Right now, we are on 91.7. That would be WYXR on your FM dial. We're live and local, of course. You can also find us on the WYXR app. We are on the TuneIn app. And when the show posts, because it will post in the next couple of days, you can find us on YouTube. Before that, actually, we're live streaming tonight on Facebook Live. So you can check us out there as well. But when the show does post in the next couple of days, you can find us on YouTube and also wherever it is you get your podcast. So we are looking forward to putting together another winner of a broadcast tonight and informing you as well. I'm happy because all of us are back together. During the holidays, folks in and out and schedules, people taking the vacations, the whole 9 yards, but all of us are back in the same room at the same time. And if you listened to Level Lola before I came on, she was jamming, man. I tell you, I came in bopping this afternoon, boy. I tell you, I said, yeah, she's back. So anyway, good show. Listen to Level Lola, by the way, 5 to 6 p.m. Central Time right here on this fine piece of radio station, broadcasting rather. You can find her each and every Monday right here, right before Real Talk Memphis. All right, guest list tonight. Last week we were trying to get Alan Crone, the attorney for Dr. Marie N. Fagans, to join us, but he got busy at the last minute. Do you need something? Okay. Where is it? Okay, Lola's asking me to do something here on my phone. I saw it, but I can't. Okay, I'm trying to find out what she's talking about. But anyway, in the meantime, if that thing pops up again, Lola, if you do it again, I'll do it. Tonight we have Alan Crone, the attorney for Marie Fagans in this whole school board termination deal. He'll be joining me in just a few minutes. A little bit later on, we will have Shelby County School Board member Amber Huett-Garcia. She will be joining us to give us her side and her take on things in reference to all of this. And then a little bit later on, we're going to be talking about the restaurant scene here in the city of Memphis. and we're going to be talking to one of the owners of Curry and Jerk. His name is Arturo Azcarate, and I look forward to talking with him. You know, we had several restaurants close last year, and there will be several more restaurants to open this year. So we'll try to get all that locked in and talk to him about the business in and of itself and see how things are going in terms of that. I did it again. Do it one more time. I did it again, and I saw it, and I pressed it, and it just kind of, I don't know, it just disappeared. We're trying to get our Facebook Live feed going, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're talking about in-house here. So I'm on my phone trying to watch for that. Let's see here. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. See it right there. All right, so listen, before we get into all of this, let's do the birthdays, shall we? And, of course, if you're celebrating a birthday today, you're a January baby, you had a celebration over the weekend or today or this week, this moment of the show is for you. This is the shout-out. This is what we do to celebrate you. But I can't do that unless I say, hit it, Brent. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Going out to the following. Shalandra Ford. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Kay Thompson. Erskine Gillespie, my old friend. He's celebrating a birthday as well today, as Angie Eggleston celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday to Miranda Johnson. And let's see here. Dwylette Pride. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, T.N. Smith Sr. And happy birthday to Toby Exum Hurd. To each and every one of you, I hope today was a day filled with love and laughter. And if the Lord says so, we'll be back here next year. Next year. Hopefully for your next trip around the sun, and we'll be able to celebrate just as loud and just as proud. Thank you all. Thank you, Brent. So we had a death to report over the weekend. You remember the group Sam and Dave? A lot of you folks been around here for a while. Remember the Stax days, Soul Man and Something Is Wrong with My Baby. It was Sam and Dave back in the day. Well, Sam Moore transitioned. He passed away over the weekend. Stax artist. A lot of their hit songs were written by Isaac Hayes and David Porter. He passed away over the weekend at the age of 89 years old. So, man, his memory always be a blessing. Sam Moore of Sam and Dave fame. All right. So the Shelby County Commissioners have been talking recently about how they can, make a difference, create some sort of an impasse, create some sort of an opening and lines of communication between the Shelby County, Memphis and Shelby County School Board and Dr. Fagans. Well, they had proposed at one point a vote of no confidence, a no confidence a vote. Well, that happened this evening, and apparently, from what I'm seeing, they have okayed the no confidence vote, which basically doesn't have any teeth. It just basically says that, look, you guys need to get your act together and figure out how to communicate better and figure out how to get along better for the sake of our children. So that is what that is all about. Apparently, they passed that this evening. Again, it really is just it doesn't have any teeth. It doesn't have a bite to it or anything. It's just saying that we need to do some things better. I think they also modified it to be more of a governance and a guide for how they can communicate. Because this whole issue seems to me is really about communication or lack thereof between one party and the other parties. So we will see what happens with that in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to have the attorney for Dr. Fagans on with me, and he will talk about this as well. His name is Alan Crone, so stay with me for that. A little bit later on, as I said earlier, Amber Huett-Garcia, who was one of two school board members, when this all came up in December, Michelle McKissick and she were the two members who were very absolutely 100% against this move altogether. It came out of nowhere. It was a blind side shot in the dark, and those two have been very pronounced in their objection to the removal of the current superintendent. Well, we're going to be talking with Amber in just a few minutes. She has also put a proposal out for for her school board member mates to look at, and perhaps maybe we can come to some sort of a meeting place here with all of this, because at the end of the day, our children are going to suffer on the back end of this. The public doesn't like it. The community doesn't like it. Obviously, the Board of Commissioners doesn't like it. And a lot of folks don't like this. This needs to be fixed and needs to be resolved. So we'll be talking to her about how she feels about all of this and what she has proposed to her fellow board members. Speaking of trying to eliminate things and folks, Senator Brent Taylor is on this one-man mission, it seems, to recall current Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, who is, by the way, an elected official here. You elected him to office. But Brent Taylor didn't like some of the laws and some of the ordinances and some of the things that are going on in the DA's office. And he wants to try to pass something to remove Steve Mulroy from his seat. The folks up in Nashville, the legislative session actually starts this week. So we'll see how all of that unfolds as well. And in the world of public transportation, MATA, we come to find out, has 1 month of expenses left before once again they are out of cash. Yeah. So again, it seems like we're taking, a half a step forward and then 2 steps back with this organization. So what happens in the next month when they're out of cash? Who are they going to ask? Is the city going to give them more money, even more money, as they're trying to readjust and recalculate and refocus this organization? We shall see. Enough of news and notes on this Monday evening, this chilly Monday evening. We are going to take our first commercial break of the night. And when we come back, we're going to get into it. What do you say, ladies and gentlemen? Glad you joined us. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Let's take our first break, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? Or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has invested $94 million into our local arts community to teach, uplift, unite, and engage Memphians of all ages and zip codes.
Support for WYXR comes from the Halloran Center, presenting Memphis Songwriters Series hosted by Mark Eggers Stewart. Mark and his musical guests take audiences on a journey behind the music, sharing personal stories and introducing new works. Featuring Hannah Blaylock, Rice Drury, and Raneem Imam on Thursday, January 9th. More information at orpheum-memphis.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. Glad to have you as well as I fiddle around with my microphone trying to get it to work. Glad to have you with us, and I'm glad to have my first guest with us this evening. All of us know about what has been going on within the Memphis and Shelby County School Board, and of course their proclamation about a month or so back to remove the current superintendent of the district, Dr. Fagans, from her seat. That came as a big surprise to many people, including many people who were on the board. She's retained the services of an attorney, and he is one of the preeminent employment attorneys in this city and in this county. He is Alan Crone. I'm very glad and happy to have him on the show. Alan, it's great to see you, man. Thanks for taking time to come on with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Oh, Chip, it's my pleasure. I hope I've got something smart to say.
You're a smart guy, so that won't be a problem at all. But listen, so here we are in all of this, this dishevelment, this disorder, this really complete mess in most people's opinion about what is going on with the Memphis and Shelby County School Board, and some of the members' desire to have Dr. Fagans removed from her position. You have been retained as her attorney. We know from her statement and pretty emphatic one that she is not going to resign from this. So basically, I guess it sort of puts this in the hands of the school board, whether to vote yay or nay in terms of this. Just overall, Alan, your impressions of this case period. Should it even have been brought? I mean, how do you, when you look at this on the whole, what do you think about it?
Well, I've represented several school superintendents across the South, and this isn't an unusual situation. It's part political, it's part professional, it's part personal, and it's unfortunate. And I hope that the school board will reconsider what it's doing. Now, the law, the bylaws, her contract allows, if they've got 5 votes to fire her, they can fire her. So there's the political situation, the policy situation, which is should they, and then there's the legal situation, which is if they do they owe her buyout? And that's really where I come in. And I've never seen a situation where the community seems to be unanimous that this is a bad idea. And for a lot of different reasons. Some people know Dr. Fagans very well, and they think she's doing a great job. Others don't know her so well, but say, hey, she just got on the job. And then others say, I don't like her leadership style, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. But I think she ought to be given a chance to show what she can do. So people coming from a lot of different places on this, but I don't think that that whoever's idea this was, I don't think they quite counted it on it being as unpopular as it is.
So, there's an issue of with cause and without cause, and the ramifications of both of those. Kind of walk us through what one means versus the other, Alan.
Well, cause, and it's defined in her contract as being a violation of policy or a breach of the contract. And if they can fire her for cause, then they don't, the school board, we don't owe her any money. But if they don't have cause to fire her and they still remove her, then she has a buyout of her contract, just like a football coach does. And they're going to owe her just south of $500,000 for firing her without cause. So it's a big deal from that standpoint. The ramifications are, they're pretty big for her.
Yeah.
How would you like to go find a job after you'd only been on the job that you were hired to do and moved across the country for 6 or 7 months? That's going to be hard for her to find another job. And it's a big blow to her reputation, which is, in my view, is unfounded, unfair, and unjustified. So, and then it's going to cost us, I think it's ultimately going to cost the district, $500,000 or more, if they insist on firing her without just cause. So the stakes are pretty high all the way around.
Now, having said that, you also said in other interviews that based on your experience, based on what you've seen, based on the allegations made by certain school board members, that none of these allegations, in your mind, with your experience, rise to the level of termination, do they?
Well, I put it this way, I don't think they rise to the level of just cause. And I think if you were, and so then the question becomes, are there enough issues between the school board and this superintendent to fire him? And I think it's premature to do that. If Chip, if you and your listeners and I owned a business, you know, a $1 billion business, and we hired a CEO to come in and make some changes, you know, take us to the next level, whatever that means in our business. And let's say that you know, the people on our board of directors didn't, you know, they didn't kumbaya with this new CEO. We still wouldn't throw them out because there was a few bumps in the road.
Right.
We would tell the board, look, we're the owners. We want you to work with this CEO. We hired, you know, you hired him. The board hired her. And so that just doesn't seem to me to be good stewardship from a political standpoint. But they, you know, if they have 5 votes, they can do whatever they want to do, and we'll all have to respect that to a certain degree.
One of the things about all of this, you know, I know that communication seems to be a big issue with some of the newer members, maybe with the superintendent, you know, as well. And there are people. The county commission is trying to weigh in a little bit to try to interject some common sense and some you know, just some thoughtful type conversation in all of this. And as you said, the court of public opinion is very, very much on the side of Superintendent Fagans right now. Does it surprise you, even with all the experience, the years of experience that you have, that in a situation like this, where we have a 9-member board and 4 brand new board members that just took the seat literally over 3 months ago, maybe close to 4 months ago now, and weren't involved at all in the hiring of this superintendent, to dig their heels in to take us to this point where we are right now, to a person who has yet to even serve 1 year in the position of superintendent?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it comes down to, right? I mean, I'm not on the board. I'm not there every day taking calls for constituents. I don't know, you know, I don't want to cast any aspersions on anybody on the board until I'm proven wrong. I'm going to assume that everybody thinks they're doing what's right. Mm-hmm. But I would say to people who find themselves advocating for a position that is obviously not popular with anybody in the community, to take a deep breath and to be humble and sit down and try to work this out for the good of the kids, for the teachers, for the staff, for the family and friends of students. And that just seems to me to be the right thing to do. But again, I'm not in anybody's shoes on the board.
Right.
They've got to, you know, everybody on that board has to look at themselves, look at the situation, and do what's right for the district, not necessarily what's right for them personally, politically, or professionally.
Now, this, what I'm about to say doesn't have anything to do with you necessarily, but there is noise now from the State House. The governor was here, the Speaker of the House, Sexton was here, and a couple of other leaders, and expressed their thoughts about all of this, saying that they were very disappointed, obviously, in the way things are going now, and even threatened a nuclear option, which is a term that you very rarely hear, especially in situations like this. And basically what that told me is that, you know what, if they can't figure it out down there, we're going to take over up here. And I guess it depends on who you talk to, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But you have any thoughts about that one way or the other?
Well, as you know, Chip, I was, during the Strickland administration, I was really involved with the city's relationship with Nashville.
Right.
And I can tell you from firsthand experience that everybody in the state government, whether they're Republican or Democrat, whether they come from East Tennessee or Orange Mound, wants Memphis to succeed because it's the biggest city when you count the county. It's it's a huge part of the economy of Tennessee. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the state is responsible for education. And they're happy to let us do our thing down here. But if it looks like this thing is going off the road into a ditch, they will get involved. And they consider it to be their duty to get involved. Now, you add into that regionalism, and you add into that a little bit partisan politics, and that makes the stew real spicy, right? Because then people start thinking of ways that they can get political hay on this,
sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is to act right and to handle these things on the down low, and do it in a way that doesn't get a lot of attention and that doesn't make us all look like a bunch of amateurs down here. And so that the state will have confidence that we can handle our own business. And that's all I would like to see happen is, look, if there, I've heard some commissioners and legislators, and I think maybe a councilman or two or board members, all of, a whole bunch of elected officials saying, maybe this would be a good time to put all this on hold and let's do some mediation. Let's do some training or some dialogue between all of these parties and factions, and let's figure out a way that what is it that you're really upset about. Let's talk about it in a frank way. And I know Dr. Fagans is anxious to not really put this behind her like it never happened, but to take this, work with the board members, all the board members, and move forward and learn from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, my friend, thank you, man, for coming on the show and kind of laying it out. I think a lot of what you said is really a lot of the sentiment of a lot of folks here in this city. We don't know when this decision is going to be made. Thought that for once it was going to be tomorrow, but it doesn't look like that's the case. But whenever or however, there's still time. The decision hasn't been made yet finally. So there's still time, as you say, to cooler heads to prevail, for some calm and some reason to be put into this very serious situation. And of course, as you stated before, Dr. Fagans, wants to know one way or another which direction she needs to go in and really move forward. But I want to thank you for coming on the show and kind of laying it out for us in very common sense terms. And we will be watching very carefully, all of us will, to see exactly what happens. I appreciate you, Alan. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate you, Chip. Keep doing the good work you're doing.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Alan Crone, ladies and gentlemen, top employment attorney representing Marie Fagans in all of this school board mess. And, he made some very good points. At a certain point in time, you have to everybody has to be quiet and then listen to each other. Let's practice that. And let's work on that. Is there still time to rectify the situation before it gets to a dangerous level? Yes, I think there is. But it's not up to us, as he said. It is up to them. So we thank Alan for coming on the show. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to get the view from the inside about all of this with the Memphis and Shelby County schools. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll take another quick break, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Want to reach a passionate audience who loves Memphis's arts and music scene? Sponsor WYXR and connect your brand with the city's creative community. More information at wyxr.org/sponsorship.
Programming for WYXR is brought to you by a grant from the Hyde Family Foundation, who is committed to creating a better future for the city of Memphis by supporting initiatives that enrich our city's cultural landscape.
Community Alliance for the Homeless will be conducting the annual Unsheltered Point-in-Time Count on January 22nd, 2025. This count collects data surrounding unsheltered homelessness in our community on a single night in January and is required by HUD to secure community funding. To learn more about how to volunteer or share known locations, visit cafth.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this chilly Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. And, of course, many of you, if you heard the first interview we had with Alan Crone, who's the attorney for Superintendent Fagans in this whole Memphis and Shelby County School Board decision, if you will, that is coming up. I wanted to reach out to a board member and find out from the inside out exactly how they're feeling now. My next guest is a member of the Memphis and Shelby County School Boards. She is Amber Huett-Garcia, and she is one of the two people, when you first saw this about a month or so back in December, who were vehemently against, with nothing left over, this move. She and Michelle McKissick were very vocal that night and saying that this is absolutely not to be done or should not be done by these other school board members. But please welcome to the show Amber Huett-Garcia. Amber, it's great to see you. How you doing tonight?
Hey, Chip. Thanks so much for having me. I'm doing well. It's been a eventful start to the year.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it. So you were there that night, and of course, many of the board, I guess you included, and Michelle as well, got the news when you found out that there was even going to be a specially called meeting for her termination. Was it true that you found out that same day that it was supposed to happen?
Yeah, what's funny is actually a member of the community, a non-school board member, called me and told me they heard a rumor that a special call meeting was coming. And I heard that rumor about 3 hours before it was posted. So on a Monday, so I didn't really know it was official until it was posted. I was not pulled for my availability is what I will say.
Wow. So, and here we go with all of this. And since then we have heard, you were at the meeting that night. It got pretty volatile in terms of the community members who were there, who expressed their opinions, their thoughts and opinions on all of this. And many of them shared the same opinion that you had in reference to this. You have recently drafted a resolution to try to convince some of the dissenting members that calmer heads need to come into this. Now, I don't want to take your words and your meaning from it. So tell us basically what it is that you put together and what you hope to achieve from it.
Yeah. So I think it's really important. So I drafted a resolution. The resolution title is Resolution to Retain Superintendent Dr. Marie Fagans. It is a counter proposal to the resolution to terminate. The goal is tomorrow when we discuss these things is that we only move one of these things forward. For me, I've been listening to the public, including my constituents. We had 57 members of the public share public comments, all in support of her. What I tried to do with the resolution is actually get to the core issues that I think my colleagues are expressing as pain points for them in that termination resolution. So they focused on 3 issues. So I asked the question, like, what does this boil down to? So for me, that was 4 things. So in my resolution, I'm calling for stronger internal controls to sort of get at some of the processes and RFPs and financial things that sort of popped up. In a human capital analysis, do we have the right people supporting our superintendent? She reports to the board, but we have a massive 13,000 employee system. There's a joint communication protocol being established between the board and superintendent, not only developed, but implemented and followed. And then board governance training for the school board. So several of my colleagues, 4 of them, in fact, are brand new. So combined have barely more experience with the district than Dr. Fagans combined, right? We have required state training, but what I am putting forward is not only an analysis from a third-party organization, but somebody who can come in and do that training of what is the role of a school board? What is, as a reflective leader, what can I do? How am I contributing to communication breakdowns? How do I manage? How do I understand my role? And I put timelines in place that require updates to the public, putting a plan in place, updates to the public. So we have something to sort of track progress.
So there's some accountability there in reference to what you just said. I have to ask you. I have to ask you. How surprised were you, or are you, that you mentioned there were 4 brand new elected school board members who have been on the board barely 4 months. They weren't involved in the selection of Dr. Fagans in the first place. Dr. Fagans hadn't even been in her seat, in her position for a year yet, but 8 months going on 9 months. How surprised were you that was these members, at least 3 of them in particular, who said, we don't want her. And I've asked this question of everybody I've talked to, and I'll ask it of you. Does this seem like a personality issue, or is it a professional issue in your mind?
I think it could be both. I think the central question here, and I listened to Alan's segment, right, is putting policy aside and whether this was a contract breach, that tomorrow is not a criminal trial, right? This is an employment issue.
Right.
The central question I want my colleagues to answer, honestly, is do you want to continue to work with the superintendent? And the answer for me, if it's not obvious, is yes. I've had a great working relationship with her. I believe that I have all the information I need. The communication is strong. If the answer is maybe or yes, does my resolution address the root issues of the termination resolution? But if it's a no, it is not for us to decide if this rises to just cause. I think that is matters that are going to be handed beyond us. At the end of the day, whether we want her to be in charge of the school district is our decision. For me, I think it's the wrong one. And I think it models for our students that when you run into something difficult, then you just sort of start over. We've had 4 superintendents in 7 years, and the majority of the children who are leaving our district are not reading on grade level. So are the adults in the room centering children in their decisions each day? And for me, it doesn't feel like that. So I can't say with any sort of proof that it's personal. But it feels like I have an incomplete picture, is what I will say.
So when you present this to your board colleagues tomorrow, and you laid out very nicely, what you hope to achieve from all of this, at the end of the day, a decision will have to be made one way or the other. Now, in terms of a timeline, we were told, I thought initially that this was going to happen tomorrow, but can you tell me when or when a decision will be made or a vote will be made in reference to her tenure one way or the other? Yeah,
I'd like to actually share. So tomorrow's, I think, agenda is a little confusing. Yes. So at 5 p.m., we'll have an evaluation committee, a committee of the whole, for Dr. Fagans to present her written response to the board at 5 p.m. in an evaluation committee. There won't be debate or discussion there. And in the work session agenda, we will discuss the termination resolution and the retention resolution. Work session is not a voting meeting.
Okay.
So, and committees are not a voting meeting. So unless we are now past the point of which a special call meeting could actually be placed on the calendars for tomorrow, unless we want to have it at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Has to be posted 24 hours in advance. So there's also, just to clarify, because members of the public have asked me, there's no public comments at either the committee or work session tomorrow. You should show up in the audience and share your support.
Okay.
But on the 21st, which is our board business meeting, we will hopefully have moved one of those items forward to vote.
All right. So now we're talking about the 21st. From the
Yes.
meeting perspective, if that were to happen, but if a decision was made beforehand, would you all call a special meeting to discuss that one way or another?
So the chair of the board, Joyce Coleman, is the only one that's allowed to call a special call meeting.
Okay.
So yes, she is allowed to do that. There has to be at least 24 hours advance notice. I will say in the meeting on the 17th, we did agree on the presentation of the written response on the 14th.
Okay.
And then a vote on the 21st. So if we do have a special call meeting, we will have to have 5 votes to undo our prior vote. So if you have a special call meeting, we want to terminate, we would also have to vote to agree that we agree on the new date.
Wow. Okay.
So
yeah, steps. There's steps. You mentioned that the public is invited tomorrow to this meeting that you all have, but are not allowed to make comments. Are you concerned a little bit about, because that first meeting got pretty heated, pretty hot, and trying to keep order, in the room, especially when they find out that they're not allowed to make any comments, because I love passion, but I love passion in its place and in order. Any concerns about the reaction to all of this tomorrow from you all?
I think there's, I think a little, in sort of the tone and temperature of the room is managed by the person leading the meeting.
Got it.
So we have every ability to manage that. And what I will say, the community was awesome on the 17th.
Mm.
What I believe would have happened is that we would have terminated that night, because what it felt like to me, as I shared at the top, walking into a meeting that they didn't care whether I was there or not, felt like maybe this could have happened, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's democracy. The audience is a group of individuals who voted folks in to listen to them and listen to their concerns. And so I welcome them to put that pressure on there. Yeah, like we want decorum and we don't want to be shouting over one another, but show up, raise your hand, clap. Like you can show approval and disapproval in a lot of ways without getting at the mic. And I'll say I've had hundreds of emails, Facebook messages, text messages from random folks. A lot of elected officials have called me. So I very much know what the public feels and what they're hoping for over the next 8 days.
Well, listen, this is really something. I don't think any of us have seen anything quite like this in recent memory, but I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show tonight and really talk to us and walk me, because you're right on the inside of all of this. You're right when you say public. The public is firmly in the corner of Dr. Fagans. I mean, we saw that demonstrated last month. And of course, a lot of political leaders, as you said, a lot of community leaders, the Board of County Commissioners today, as well. So there is a lot of support to keep this moving. I'll ask you one final question. If, say, for example, this is resolved in some kind of way and she is allowed to keep her position, are you at all concerned about the fact that it's going to be difficult to move on, in particular with some of the school board members who may not agree with keeping her on? I mean, do you think we can adequately move forward with a forward-thinking agenda for our students if it results in that?
I presume positive intentions about my colleagues and their ability to grow and learn. How I always, that's kind of how I hold myself accountable to, that my perspective and an ability to work through discomfort is absolutely 100% within their ability. And we do need some accountability. We do need a governance plan. We do need additional training. We need to really just build strong relationships with each other, because when you trust one another, you can have those conversations that aren't conferring or talking about votes, but understand the lived experience and the communities they represent and why they may be showing up that way. So yeah, I think we can get there. If I were not optimistic about what we could deliver for our kids, I wouldn't do this. Right, so we can get there.
Well, listen, Amber Huett-Garcia, Memphis and Shelby County School Board member, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come on the show. Really great conversation with you, and we will absolutely be watching and waiting to see what happens. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's a view from the inside. She is one of the Memphis and Shelby County School Board members who is against the termination of Dr. Fagans. And we are watching and waiting, along with the rest of you, to find out what happens down the road. Really appreciate her time. One final break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to shift gears all together. Many of you like to eat. Right? We all like to eat, right? We're going to talk a little bit about restaurants and other things like that. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? Or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR, including the 2024 Raised by Sound Festival, comes from Sims Murphy, leaders in brain and spine care, whose mission is to deliver the best care for people suffering from spine and brain conditions while advancing the field of neuroscience. More information at sims-murphy.com.
Did you know you could donate your vehicle and support WYXR at the same time? We offer free pickup and it's tax deductible. Go to cars.wyxr.org to donate your car today.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and we're going to switch gears. 2024 was not the best year for some restaurants in the city. We several restaurants closed last year. Houston's being one of the more prominent ones close to the end of the year. But when one falls, another one sprouts. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the restaurant scene with someone who can talk to us a little bit about that. Please welcome to the show Arturo Azcarate. He is the owner of Curry and Jerk. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that restaurant, and many of you have been there as well. Arturo, great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I appreciate you having us on to represent the Restaurant Association.
Well, absolutely, man. Thank you for taking time to do so. So we did lose some restaurants last year to closure, and I'm sure that there were a lot of issues that were involved in that, perhaps the staffing and some other issues. But, when we look back on it as a whole, Memphis is what it is as a city one of the things that we take great pride in is our restaurants, is our variety of food and different places that people like to go and eat. In terms of the business aspect of this and the business atmosphere involving it, how did restaurants do last year, in your perspective?
I think it was a very slow season. The last quarter, we saw a very amount of decrease in the financial stability of the restaurants. So definitely we hit a wall, and at that point, you kind of just have to look at your business plan and readjust the way that you're operating. And I think that is a key. When we talk about restaurant failures, I don't care if you've been out here for 20 years or 30 years or 5 years or 1 year. Today's way of doing business is different, and we have to meet the need of the consumers who we provide our services to. So those are things that I think we need to focus on. And we hate to see someone from the restaurant family disappear, but we have other ones coming aboard, like you said. When one goes down, another two pop up. But are they able to sustain the challenges that we face, right? Financial stability. A lot of people don't realize there's not a lot of profit margin due to the inflation, right? So we're struggling with the product, struggling with the cost to our consumers, and the inflation amount. So we see a decrease in that, and it's a struggle. But I hope that gives you an idea of why some of these businesses may be closed.
Well, that's very interesting, and a lot of people talk about the inflation. All of us talk about higher prices, and it costs you more to get some of the items that you need, that you prepare and sell to the public, and of course that overhead, as you said, it starts to thin out a little bit because of the extraordinary cost of the way things are, and that probably does have a factor in it. In terms of your restaurant, which is a very good place to eat, from what I'm to understand. I haven't been there yet, but how I know you're feeling like everybody else is feeling, but how are you faring in terms of the economics of the day?
And I feel the pressure just like everyone else, but what I try to do is just make sure that we're being attentive to the ones that are coming in. Are we providing that service that they're looking for? Are we being consistent with our food and the taste and the flavor? So we're not trying to lose the repeated customers, because they're important to us, right? And we'd love to see a large amount of people come in, but the ones that do support me because we stay consistent with what we're providing.
A lot of folks, as I said, love to eat out, love to have a good meal, and go out and enjoy themselves. Now, and as we talked about at the top, where there are closures, there are openings, and I've seen stories, several stories in the newspaper about 6, 7, 8 new restaurants coming to town. That even in this economic environment, Arturo, that we are all living and dealing with, that has to be, from the Memphis Restaurant Association perspective, that has to be good news. So talk a little bit about that, and the fact that there are several new restaurants that are going to be opening that the Memphians can enjoy.
Truly, as a restaurant association board member, we're trying to find ways to get our new restaurants brought to the board, joining the restaurant association, because we also have a lot of things that we fight for restaurants, the challenges that they may face with the code enforcement and different things that a lot of people don't realize. Yeah. There's a lot of steps and there's a lot of responsibility that, as a consumer, I didn't realize it. The cost of everything that it takes to run a business, just getting a license to be able to operate and stuff like that. So the Restaurant Association we're holding a food festival that's going to have at least 17 food vendors and 8 alcohol vendors that's going to be on February 2nd at the Kent. It's something that gives these opportunities to new restaurants to have an audience in front of them, and people get to come out and sample their food and stuff. So I think that is a big thing that we're focused on this year, as we have been in the past. But we want people to know that we're here for the community. We're here for the culture. We both need each other as patrons, and the restaurants need customers.
One of the things you just said there in reference to the Restaurant Association, is helping these new businesses, in many ways, get a footing, get an understanding of how things are done here in the city. There really is a lot of value in being a part of an organization like the Memphis Restaurant Association, because you work hard to try to make sure that not only the existing restaurants are doing well and not dealing with other things, but more really importantly, somebody new coming into the city, not really understanding the culture of the city. It means a lot, doesn't it?
It means a lot, because these are the things that may cause you to get closed, right? If you're not sure and you're not aware of all these different fees and charges and permits and license and the way to operate properly, you're behind the 8 ball, and those taxes that you have to do every month on the 15th and 20th for your food taxes, your alcohol taxes, are things that you're not aware of as a person that's purchasing food. But when you become a business owner, you're not aware of some of these things, and we're here to educate those individuals on how to operate your business in the right way.
Well, listen, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, and you gave us a good bird's eye view of the market as it is, and more importantly, is the market that it could be and will be as we enter into 2025. I wish you nothing but the best of luck at your restaurant and all of the new restaurants that are coming to town. Look forward to it. It brings a certain kind of an excitement around here when something like that happens. But I really appreciate you coming on the show, Arturo. Thank you so much for your time.
And we need to get you out there to our restaurant, okay?
Man, look, when I come, I hope you're there, because I'm gonna ask for you. I'm gonna say, hey, where's my good friend Arturo?
Well, hey, that's the good thing about it, man. I'm an owner operator. I'm there every day my business is open.
That's what I'm talking about. Arturo Azcarate, ladies and gentlemen. He's the owner of Curry and Jerk here in Memphis. Thanks again, man, for coming on the show. Really appreciate you. And have a good 2025. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right. That about wraps it up, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's on a nice note when you're in the show talking about food. That's kind of one of my favorite subjects. Anyway, as Brent plays us out, I really enjoyed this conversation tonight. We had learned a lot. I hope you learned a lot. I know I did. And always glad to have great folks join us on this broadcast. So, thanks again to everybody who joined. And, of course, those of you who watched us this evening. Listen, we try to do this each and every week. We urge you to check us out. Try to provide some information, that maybe news you can use and things you didn't know about. That's kind of how we do what we do on this broadcast. Thank you all for your support. We're going to make 2025 even bigger than we had last year, so we really appreciate you. So for all of us here, the returning world traveler, Lola, and for Brent, and for yours truly, we really appreciate you. We really thank you so much. Be safe, be careful out there, and we look to see you again next week. Same time, same station, and we'll try to do it all over again just a little bit better. In the meantime, we'll talk to you soon.